Okay.
Okay. And so now we really are rocking on the stoop. This is the Council for Global Ancestor Reverence. We offer our small podcast throughout the year, and part of our commitment to doing this is to capture for 7 years, for 7 generations, interesting information about wonderful people in our community and what they are doing as we honor our elders, as we honor our elders and our ancestors. Our mission is to educate, advocate, and elevate the ancestral presence that is in the lives of African American people throughout the African diaspora. We rock on the stoop because that's where we sit. We are elders and we sit and watch our community. We love the community. So that's why we say, what you doing over here? How you get over here, girl?
Hi, my name is Tacharna Crump. I am the executive director of a nonprofit in Washington, D.C. It is called Youth Entrepreneur Institute. I founded it this year. October will be our 10th year anniversary.
Wow.
Yes, so I literally, we're a small organization. So even today, I'm literally coming from programming, right, with young people. But we teach young people how to start businesses, um and anywhere from elementary school all the way to high school. We do it from a STEM perspective and an art perspective. And the reason for that, for me, one of the biggest challenges was not just teaching young people, like how to put poverty out of business in their own way, but one of the things I was noticing in school is that our young people of color, they're not majoring in math, they're not majoring in science. When we do go to college, we're majoring in things like uh, co- communications, and those jobs don't pay as well as the ones where you major in art, when you major in STEAM based things like art mixed with entrepreneurship, but then also mixed with STEM. So what I try to do is we trick them into liking STEM. So we have like a cosmetic chemistry program where young people learn how to make cosmetic products, and then they get to sell them and make the profits off of that. We have an art-based program, so we have students who like, of course, young people always like fashion, so we'll teach them how to make t-shirts. But when they're making t-shirts, they're also learning graphic design. They're also learning budgeting, and they're learning how to manage and create a whole brand and a brand story behind that. So we intentionally have designed programs that are for us, by us. So like in in our community. So we always get requests from, what I want to say is, gentrify communities to come into their communities, and we just won't do it. Like, we're in what is called East of the River in DC, which is Ward 7 and 8, Black and Brown. And us in particular, we work with young Black kids, boys and girls, um, and they learn how to create businesses. So at any given time, we have between 20 and 30 youth businesses. We provide them with startup funds. We have an incubator center that houses a makerspace. So what happens is young people can come in, even if they don't want to start their own business. We half of our students don't start businesses. They actually learn how to manage a YI business. So if a student isn't interested in starting their own business, they get to work with their friends to manage a YI business, and they're paid to do it. So all the profits from our social enterprises go to our young people. So we have four in-house YI businesses. One is a culturally relevant art design company. So we make native products, which are like a shirt. Like I actually don't have a native shirt on. I have a YI shirt on, but products that like represent artists and the local community and DC natives. We have a candle making business called Scented Futures, where young people learn how to make candles and cosmetic products. Um, and then we also have a social enterprise called Good Hair, where young people are learning to, one, respect and love their hair, but also make hair products from scratch using cosmetic recipes. And it's honoring Black girls' hair, right? On the kind of the premise of our hair is good, right? So we have social enterprises. That's one track. The other track is entrepreneurship, where they actually get money to start their own business. And then we provide a center that has all of the materials. So we have anything from heat presses, laser cutters, all types of STEAM based equipment that they always have access to. So that's why in a quick bunch, we serve between 100 and 200 students in a year. Throughout the year round programs, we have about 60 students who we work with year round, and in our summer programs have anywhere from 100 to 150 young people, and they all are paid. So they generate profit from their businesses, but then YAR also invest in internships for our students. So our students make above living wage. And these are our high school students who are on pretty much college level, and they have an opportunity to get up to 3 college credits. And the one of the reasons why I was so determined to add that piece onto it is because our young people don't know like that they can go to college. They don't even A lot of them don't even think it's a possibility. So when they're in a program and they're just having fun and they're doing this work and they're learning these skills, financial literacy, um, entrepreneurship, and all of these different pathways that they're being introduced to, and then they learn, oh, I actually earned 3 college credits too. It just makes them so much more willing to be like, okay, well, I might actually be able to do this. Um,
Mm.
so that's why overall, our goal is to teach young people a STEM skill set and entrepreneurial mindset. So I don't care if a student leaves and doesn't become an entrepreneur. I want them to have that mindset, because I believe like young people are the future. They're the ones that they have to cre- like stop this economic issue that we're having in our community, and that only happens when they come back to the community. So that's why,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I was looking at the website. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Wonderful. It really is. Um, as you were talking, I was thinking, uh, I tell everybody that will listen that, I think the kids in YEI see me coming. And then they know we're gonna get something from Nana. So let's just go over here and sell our product. And the thing of it is I'm happy to see them. I'm so happy to see them. I love that tagline around sweet hustle. Because there's the one thing that I don't think you talked about a little bit is that there are no disrespectful children in YEI. They are, parents are involved, the community is involved. You have a wonderful staff. And by the way, they've gotten to Cuba. YEI went to Cuba before we got there. I got pictures of them in Cuba sitting in the vintage cars. That was the board meeting, y'all. See, hear me? The board went and met in Cuba, but you went and did wonderful things around entrepreneurship in Cuba and looking at what it was also around environmental food sustainability. Am I right, Tatiana?
Yeah, so as you said, one of our programs is called Smart Hustle. We have this current year, we have what we call Smart Hustle Abroad, which is taking young people outside the country and even inside the country to different business experiences. So our board meets we don't meet once a year. We have a retreat once a year. And because I knew that we were actually going to be taking young people to Cuba this summer, we wanted to go and kind of like see make relationships while we also did our retreat. So we went out there, we met some really cool, really dope Black Cuban people. And a really funny thing about that is like Cuba, technically entrepreneurship was not legalized until 2021. So like there's all of these new women businesses that they're having, these small businesses. This is something new. So like having our students experience that. So we're actually taking 12 young people to Cuba this summer. They're going to be working with some Cuban businesses that we built relationships with, and doing some service projects, also learning through the University of Havana, and working with economists. So we're really, really, really excited about that. And that's a part of Smart Hustle Abroad. So those are traditionally students that are in our entrepreneurial and residence program, because they're peer mentors. We have a peer mentor component to our program. So students who have been entrepreneurs that they might start in ninth grade and now they're in 12th grade or they're in college, they start mentoring the younger students and we stay with their businesses throughout. So those are the students that will be going on the first trip to Cuba with Smart Hustle Abroad.
When are y'all leaving?
We are leaving in August. We, of course, with Trump, like he's changed some things. So like even when we went, of course there were certain categories you could go under people to people. So we're still trying to work out. Like we technically actually was supposed to go in July, but we had to switch it to August. Just because there's some technical things that we have to make sure we dot our I's and cross our T's because Trump came in and changed
Your shoes.
all the rules.
Mm-hmm. I think I spelled oh yeah, there it is. STEM, science, technology.
Technology, engineering, and math, I think it is.
It's in the
That's
But
what
you
I
got
thought it was. I didn't know she was, I was just, okay.
So we
I
use
have it in my
STEAM
notes.
because we added A in there. We add the arts because
art.
I think the arts are important. And it's part of innovation. So like art and technology, especially today, go together. So it's even as simple as using like Midjourney and AI and integrating those things together. So we use STEAM as science, technology, engineering, art, and math.
Mhm.
But yes, STEM, STEAM, same thing.
I love it. I love it.
I'm gonna pass the website out so I know the people I know can donate.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome sauce.
Yeah.
Y'all just moved into a new building.
We
I
did.
Yes. Oh, listen. When I left you that night, baby doll, I got mad because I did not go back and get some leftovers from those cribs.
And it was so much.
Look, YEI set it out. It was so wonderful. It really, really was. And that's why, when you talk about being an entrepreneur, that is so much that is in the DNA of our ancestors. They
Hmm.
all had businesses, the organic farmer was the black farmer and the Native
Hmm.
American farmer. And then they took it from us and gave it back to us at a high price where you gotta now figure out how to pass a test to get what you gave us. Because they thought and so the idea of indigo and cotton and all kinds of the cotton gin and I mean just think about all the things that entrepreneurship has given the world out of a black space or a brown space. And so giving back to these next generations what has really been the platform for us for generations. When I think about when I was in high school and we were learning these things, and there's a poem. It's called Between Booker T and Me, and it's a conversation between Booker T. Washington and W.E.B. Du Bois, and they having a debate back and forth about the intellectual or the agricultural and da 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 da, and the ending line is "We agree." And so that's you know, and the the history of it is that Booker T. Washington and W.E.B. Du Bois did not get along. They were in different parts of our culture, but they were not adversaries as it would sound. So when you put art in, for me, thinking about art as arts and sciences, like you said, that just seems to be such a logical way to go. How big is your staff?
So we have 7 staff members. During the summer, of course, we have more staff because we serve a lot more
Mhm.
students. Um, but yeah, 7, 7 of us.
Mhm. Tacharna, what is your background? How did you decide to do this? And not just your academic background, but from how are your roots connected into this as a Black woman, as a mom, because
Hmm.
gotta do the girl. But how did you
Yes.
get here?
So it's funny. I started my first business technically while I was in college. So I graduated from high school early because I was an overachiever. So I graduated from high school at 15. and went to Norfolk State. I was on a partial scholarship, but then I got some grant aid money. Now, I also got emancipated because then again, remember, I'm 15 in college, right? So I had to figure out a way to make money because I had to figure out how I was going to buy my first car. I had to figure out how I was going to not eat oodles and noodles, how I was going to survive, college, right? So the best option for me, because employment was harder, even though I was emancipated, it was harder to get at 15, 16-year olds, me in college. I took my student aid money. I bought a heat press, I bought a cutter, I bought some other items, all under like $2,000 total. And I made sorority and fraternity apparel on campus. Within like the first year, I was making like 40,000 a year just doing 4 shows a year, going to like Delta Sigma Theta. And by the time it was my third year of college, I was making so much money off of that business, and I was exploring and started to enter other businesses. So one of the things that was I really like to do, because I was majoring in mathematics, which is crazy, not business. But one of the things that I'm a very creative person, but I'm also a very analytical person. So I would research and find ideas and then create a business, and then just get it to the point to sell it to somebody else and do focus on the brand. And just so I knew that I knew how to do it, then I would sell it. YI is the first business that I've had, which isn't my business, it's a nonprofit, that I did not leave, because I was basically flipping businesses. About the time that I graduated from college, I was making more money off of business than to go in a direction of what I originally was going to do. Um, and at that same time, I met my husband. He was in the military, and he was from DC. And when I first met him, he was counting down that he had 603 days left in the military. And I thought that was so weird. He was counting down from the day I met him, how many days he had left in the military. So when I graduated college, long story short, when I graduated college and it was around the time he was getting out of the military too, I made the decision that I wasn't going to stop my businesses and go into the workforce. And part of it was because of him counting down those days, right? So I continued my businesses. We eventually moved to DC. So when I was in Virginia, I had actually opened an art studio that wasn't too far from where my campus was. And I let other artists who went to school and stuff utilize the art studio as well. And when we moved to DC, I started volunteering. I was still doing my businesses, of course, but I started volunteering with another organization called Do the Right Thing. Um, and she wanted us to do programming, and it was around making t-shirts. So she just wanted us to come and make t-shirts with the kids because she knew that I had an art business. So I did, and I volunteered for a while, and I told her like, hey, I want to teach young people the business of art, not just teaching them how to make a t-shirt because it's funny. She's like, these kids don't need to know nothing. They're not gonna want to do business, just make t-shirts with them. I said, oh, okay. And then the very next day, I did all the research. And she actually helped me. She gave me the resources she was like, hey, if you want to do this, here's how you do it. Um, and I opened YI. So it started as an art program. It expanded. Art and entrepreneurship is what it started as. And then it expanded into STEM because my young people didn't know how to do math. Like we would be sitting down, like trying to do a budget, and they didn't have basic math skills. And I was like, how am I going to get them to like math enough to do it? So I was like, okay, let's look at cosmetics because that involves math and science. So then it expanded into STEAM. And that's kind of where we are. So I moved to DC because this is my husband's home. And now my home. If you ask anybody, I'm more DC than him. But I'm originally from Virginia Beach, the 757, which isn't too far. It's like 3 to 4 hours. And that's kind of like our stories. And we have two beautiful kids. And they also have businesses. So my son has a business called Prairie Popcorn. And my daughter, of course, is a creative person like me. So she makes like laser cut earrings, as well.
Now,
And
look, you're talking to everybody on this screen. Everyone on this screen is an entrepreneur. Every one of us. And as I'm listening to you, I'm thinking, wow, you walk right into
my purpose.
yeah, your
Mm.
purpose. because Nedra is an artist. Uh, Tolu owns the art gallery in DC. Wanda is the entrepreneur in the nonprofit, and oh my goodness, I'm the one that's I'm off brand.
No, you are not.
Yes, I am.
I do have a question. Do you ever have people come in like advisors that will come in and show kids stuff or uh,
Yes, we are always looking for mentors and advisors. We do two pitch competitions a year. So when students come into our program, if they start in the fall, by the spring, they're actually presenting their business plan, their logo, all of their financial information, and then we provide pitch awards for up to $1,000. The pitch everybody gets at least $100, but it goes up to $1,000. And we have pitch judges come in, so we're always looking for judges. And then in everyday programming, we are always looking for artists that want to come in and do a workshop. And even just like one of the big pain points for us is like the transitioning. So like when our students transition from learning skills and being an entrepreneur to going off to college and managing their business, having like we don't have a dedicated like mentor network. And it's partly because it's too much for us to manage as a small organization, right? Like we're not a mentorship. So like having resources to say, hey, I know this artist, I'm gonna link you up with them. Is something that we're trying to expand on as well.
Wow.
I admire what you guys are doing. My
Thank you.
superpower is behind the sewing machine. Um, this this outfit that I'm wearing took me about 20 minutes to make.
OMG.
So I've sewn professionally for if you want to add something like creating clothing,
Mm-hmm.
sewing, because that's a lost art, I'll be more than happy to volunteer my time. I'm in Richmond. Give me a heads up. I can come up to DC and stay anytime because I'm from there.
Oh, that is amazing because we have two industrial sewing machines. I don't personally know how to sew, right? But one of the things that like I was trying to do anyways was even like with students like upcycling like
Mhm.
different materials and turning them into something else for the social enterprises. So I think I will definitely take you up on that offer.
That is
Yeah,
so cool.
yeah. I will if you want. I leave phone number and everything right now. I mean, I'll put in the chat and I don't know if you have. She can get in our chat, can't she?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
And I've sewn for the theater. I've sewn for Folgers Shakespeare Theater. Um, and when it's Troika, it used to be Troika, and it was another one where we would do costumes. So, say for instance, one of the first shows I worked on when I was working with them was cats. I had to
Oh
paint
wow.
leotards in the cat for that look like cats. So, and then sew them. So I know how to use the industrial machines, the sergers, anything. I can show them how to make clothes or even make T-shirts.
Oh,
So
that would be awesome.
I love passing the knowledge on to the kids.
Yes.
Hmm.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
How do you does your how do your mentors work in terms of um helping students with any of is there a tutoring program or a empowerment program for the young folks in your I know all about I don't know all about I'm just thinking about I don't want to ask that question. Never mind. Here's the question I want to ask.
Hmm.
What are you telling young people about being involved in the community like you are? How, when they leave you, what is their connection, not just to the business, but to the neighborhood? How are they giving back? Like,
So
so when they come back, that's how we sustain ourselves.
yeah. So, for example, one of the things that we technically, any student that's in our program has to sign a savings contract, right? But they also have to commit a percentage, at least 10% to a social cause that they've looked up. Of course, that does not, we only enforce it with our young people who are our interns who actually like get paid and make money off of their businesses and brands. But when they're building out their business idea and they're building out their business plan, they have to identify a social cause in the community that they want to support. And the same thing with the social enterprise as part of those proceeds. In addition to that, we do a lot of community events. So Our kids are like entrenched into the community, and like we even had a one of our elementary school student businesses last year. Um, we had got that group into doing writing a book, so they published their own book. And one of the things that was going on in DC at that time, there was a bill called Secure DC, and what it did was it changed the laws to where young people who did petty crimes would get higher sentences. It allowed the government to use personal property cameras and business cameras. So we kind of explained that to them in class. This is just one example, and they came up with a concept to make apparel, but then also their book was based off of people over profits, right?
Mm.
Um, and one of the things that was in that bill was that people couldn't, nobody, technically, if two or more people congregated, like two or more people were together out on the streets, then the police can stop them and tell them that they had to disperse if it was two or more people. And this bill was particularly, it was because, essentially, it was because businesses were getting robbed and white people were getting their cars stolen. So instead of somebody getting a year or 2 years for petty crimes, now it's a mandatory 15 years, right? And it was all based off of the premise of which the bill did pass, but it was based off of this premise that we're protecting property. Like property is more important than people. And yes, I believe that there should be consequences for actions. And I don't want I want to discourage young people from doing stupid things and committing crimes. But when we start to create systems to where
Black codes.
they're going to affect young black boys and young black girls to a degree that is not comparable, that gets scary. So like technically in the bill, you couldn't wear a ski mask. It's illegal to wear a ski mask, which in most cases makes sense. But when you start creating these laws, kids are going to break them anyway. So now we're giving reasons to lock more black kids up, right?
Mhm.
So they created that, and that was really good. Like they created a like explaining the advocacy behind it. So then they'll go and read the book to kids who were younger than them. They drew out like the cartoon of the mayor and how they took color away. It was called like Captain Color, and then he came and brought the color back. And so we try to do it from a perspective of where we're not telling them that they have to, but we're introducing them to different concepts within social, because whenever you specifically tell kids something, they gonna want to do the opposite. So we do it in the way in which we're exposing them, so they're in the community doing events. We create situations where they're working with other organizations, kids like partnering. So we partner with a organization that does theater, right? Um, and they're working with their kids together on a project. So we try to do it in a way in which they can take ownership of it, if that makes sense.
Mhm. Oh, absolutely. When you see yourself involved in it, then you're much more likely to stay involved in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wonder, are you in here? Where are you? Any questions or comments or observations? I'm in
You were
love with.
talking. I started thinking about the black codes when she said two can't be
Con-
together and all those things. Very insidious, very slyly slipped into the system.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad you made them aware of this thing. And it's just, I think it's something that you said,
Sorry.
it's simple, but it's thorough.
Mm-hmm.
The
Oh,
system of
yeah.
oppression is very
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
simply, I mean, a little simple law like that. But when it goes down and how it can impact a generation or impact a grouping of folks like our young folks, it is just insidious. And I love the way you're teaching them to see their social system. You're not telling them, you're making them experience it, and that's embody it. And so I like that. I like that a lot. I worked with youth. I was a director of ALOP a long time ago in Boston, and it was a youth group, but it was clinically based though. But yeah, thank you.
Mm.
So I, I want to say something that, most elders really would not say, which is, how old are you? Because I think you must be 150 to do all this stuff.
So I'm now 30, as of February 17th, I'm 35. I'm a 90s baby. I was born in the 90s. So I've been doing this for about 20 years. Um, but doing this work specifically for the last 10 years.
I still don't believe you. I think you're at least 90.
Well,
So could you,
I have gray hairs because these
At least
kids
80.
and I do accounting. I write curriculum. I still teach in the classroom. I'm grant writing. So yeah, I have a few gray hairs if you can
okay, so
count them.
now I'm quite sure that you're 250. So
Yeah.
but what I wanted, sometime in another era, I used to run a journalism workshop. This is before I went into recovery. And I think maybe out of the 8 summers that I did that, I think maybe 3 of them ended up being journalists. But what they told me and what I found, what I think I so admire about what you're doing is that a program like yours teaches them resourcefulness.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter, so then they begin to think differently. That's what I think a lot of these, if it's done well, a program teaches young people resourcefulness. And I and that resourcefulness is what I think can create a foundation for the leadership that we need for the next generation is that I think that uh, young people are naturally brilliant, but they don't necessarily know what to do with their brilliance.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have to say, you give me hope.
Oh, yes.
Really
Thank
do.
you.
Oh,
Because you give me hope that the generations after us are not lost. Some of them listened, and I admire the fact that you're passing it on to the younger generations,
Mm-hmm.
and we get a chance in our lifetime, in our 70s, to see they're gonna be all right.
mm-hmm.
And I think especially now, since there's open season on Black people and trying to make us come out and riot and all that other stuff, I'm glad that our people are seeing now that we were the ones that actually did the work. We invented stuff because we did the work and we knew what made it easier.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes
Yes.
me happy to see that if they decide to take all these things away from us, we're still saying, okay, good, we want segregation back. Maybe y'all will stay out of our neighborhoods and let us progress this time. I never wanted integration. So I'm happy, selling our stores. Our family suffered because of desegregation. I went to school with shotguns. Nigga, go home. So yeah, leave us alone.
You'll be all right.
Stop stealing our ideas, our food, our
Mhm.
culture, our hairstyles, our thoughts. Stop stealing from us. Let us be alone. They ain't gonna leave us alone.
And that's one of the things, like even with what happened with DEI, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people were saying, "Hey, we're gonna boycott these stores," but realistically, we don't. As with our Black buying power, because there aren't enough businesses, or the businesses that are there, they can't compete because we don't have the buying power. Like it's very hard to boycott these stores because the Black person that is boycotting this, they're gonna say, "Hey, the Black business that you can support, they're too expensive." But their chain and line of custody for the same products cost them more. So unless we invest in them, then how do we continue to build? So it's like a catch-22. And when, like you were saying back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
Black bought Black, right? So you bought that, you was buying back into your community, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like we're not doing that anymore. But then we want to say, hey, we're gonna boycott for 2 days Target. But then what happens? You go back to doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
Days later.
yep.
Yeah.
Very interesting. You just have to be. I was talking to someone else, and I buy a lot of books and things like that. And we have several bookstores here that are smaller, and I will go to some and everything. But now I'm consciously going to Marcus Bookstore. I'm constantly going to Walden Bookstore. It takes me a little more time, but now I'm saying I'm going on an excursion. I'm going to see the neighborhood today. Or I'm going to go and talk to so-and-so. And what you have to do is plan your day out maybe a little longer. I've gotten on Deep, the black app that shows you where all you do is put in your area code, show you what all the things are that are near to you. So you have a little more effort. And you might have to spend another $2 or $3 more. But I'm willing, and I'm thinking you're encouraging that. And, it's worth that time that you just have to take to do that and to find the way. Lord knows you might have to go and get some from Amazon, but not as frequent.
Huh?
Not as frequent.
My dad had a formula.
Mm-hmm.
And his formula was turn that dollar in your community 3 times before you give it away.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I have to buy from Jeff, because I don't even call it Amazon anymore.
Right.
I think I didn't spend enough money with him. I can call you by your first name.
Mm-hmm.
So if I have to get something from Jeff, then I better have gotten at least 3 products, from somebody else. Or if I possibly can, don't find where I can. And the reason why I'm with Jennifer on our community is going to be okay
Mm-hmm.
is that I'm listening to you talk about um, how they are entrepreneurs and you're meeting them where they are to take them where they need to go and where they decide, there's a whole world of marketing and um, uh, entrepreneurship that I can't even get my head around because it wasn't there for me when I was that age. But what I do see, like Nedra was saying, is the creativity and the ingenuity that we're instilling in those young people, where they can look at something and say, "Oh, I can make this better," or I can make this in 3, like name that tune, or I can name that song in 2 notes. So if we're doing that,
Mm-hmm.
then that is going to sustain us. I think where I want to make sure the gap is there. And so I'm not talking about youth and entrepreneurs. I'm talking about all of us that everybody knows that for all of us to thrive, because you and the young people that you are working with, those are the people that are going to take care of me. It may
Mhm.
not, you may not be the one that comes to see how Miss Maddie is doing, but everybody in the community needs to figure out, did anybody check on Miss Maddie today?
Mm-hmm.
Just like everybody is on social media talking about, did y'all see what Keisha did on do program someplace out in space or whatever? No. Do y'all know how Kikana is doing down the street with the new baby that she didn't intend to have? Are we paying attention to her?
Yeah.
Because that's our
Mhm.
forget cuckoo on she got 1,000 likes or 1,000 hits or 1,000 followers. Somebody better be following Kiana down the street
Mm-hmm.
because that's who is going to be in our community. So that's what I want that's why this council exists, to really talk about for 7 years to impact 7 generations so that we can see ourselves thriving together rather than, it's too much. It's enough now. Stop that. Don't talk.
Well, we as Black people, we've always had a hustle. Always.
Mhm.
And they have stolen 2 of our major hustles. Like the number runners,
The
now
lottery.
it's lottery. We Now they got dispensaries. But when we were doing it, it was
Mhm.
illegal. No,
Yeah.
when we were doing it, it was illegal. But we had a hustle. And I was in Florida one time, and my cousin said, I got to go to the store. She pulled up and she said, I'll be right back. She walked out. She talked to some guy that had an AK-47. She went in the side and she talked to somebody else. And when I realized what she was doing, I ducked in the seat. It wasn't no Yafumi K, it was another cousin. And when I yelled at her, what I witnessed was the sophistication of how these guys had a drug selling system that was amazing. All we got to do is give them a different product. Don't have to be
Mhm.
drugs. Once they get a different product, we naturally hustle. We've had to all our lives. White man's ice cost too much because it was colder. You know.
Oh, I'm loving the idea, Tachana. Am I pronouncing your name right?
Tashana.
Chana. Okay. Because I'm gonna put the T in and I got it now. Chana. That we are, you know how when my babies were young, um, and you know how a 1 year old or a 2 year old, if you're not careful, they're gonna get into something, they're gonna get into something.
Hmm.
And so whatever they're into, like you said, if you tell them not to do it, they're gonna go right there and do it. So what do you put? So the baby wants the scissors, and that's not gonna work. So you put something, you take that idea
Replace it.
and replace it. So I'm wanting us to replace all of these things that I want us to replace thug life and drug culture and whatever that is, them little girls got on it that I don't know how they get into it, and I really don't know how they ever get out of it. So I don't know what else is going on. But I want us to, I don't care about what you wear, but I do care about that what decisions have consequences. And
Hmm.
the community, we want to take care of the 15-year-old, but I want the 15-year-old to be a model for the 5-year-old, and I want the 30-year-old to be a model for the 15-year-old. So we got to replace some things, and that's what I think youth entrepreneurs has done is put something else in place so that what is important is something that is going to what you said, Jennifer, is going to sustain them. They,
Yeah,
they you
yeah.
know, and not only sustain them, but it's time for us to stop making sure the kids eating off trays in penitentiaries. I never did like eating off trays. That's
Yeah.
not unless I choose it.
So it's funny because the program, like our main programs are called Smart Hustle Junior, Smart Hustle Abroad. And my mentor, she had told me like, why are you calling your program with the word hustle in it? Grandparents and these white people don't want to see that. But I always stuck to it and was like, no, this is what we're doing because like the kids that we work with, I know you say like they're respectful and stuff. Like our young people over time learn those habits, right? But they don't come in that way. But my goal was always to say like, hey, you're taking all this risk. I know you know math. I know you know hustle because I see you out here on the streets doing it, right? But you're taking all these risks. How, I can teach you how to do the same thing, just smarter, without taking all those risks and still apply those same techniques to something different and make the same amount of money, if not more,
Mm-hmm.
but it's smart. So that's why our program has always had that name. Because that's essentially what it is. We don't want young people out here selling drugs, right? Especially nick and dime bags, because they think they're making money, but you're not even the one really making money and you taking
Over there,
all the risk.
all
So
of the rest.
all
Hmm.
the risk and you about to lose your life or be in jail for 5-10 years, like they don't even understand what it is because you're growing up in the neighborhood and that's what everybody does, right?
Yep.
um so just we're trying to change their mindset, but my thing is how we do it is more, instead of telling you, let me show you,
And put some
right?
money in your
And
hand.
put some money in your pocket. So you
Hmm.
don't have to. So when you're thinking about, oh, because it's not just about kids doing it to be cool, and I think that's what the misconception is. Some of these kids, they're taking care of their mom and their dad and buying food for their brother and their sister. Like that's what they're coming home to. Like I got to make sure that my sister can eat today, right? um so being able to have kids come in and make that decision of, no, I'm gonna go inside, I'm gonna go into this space and I'm gonna create something and I'm gonna share it with the world, rather than going outside and young
Hide
people dying and
right.
crazy stuff happening. So I think that's more like the whole school to prison pipeline is an issue for me. It's an issue that our young people, they don't have a chance. And for me, I have 2 kids. So even if I teach my kids the right way, they have to interact with other people who may make bad decisions that can impact them. So for me, it's more of trying to get the young people who I can come in contact with who need it the most
Mhm.
to change their mindset, because then they changed. It's for me, it's about a youth led economy, because I only got to change 5, 10 of your mindsets, because then you gonna bring your friend in. Like, we don't do recruitment. Our students do recruitment.
Mm-hmm.
They bring their friends and then their friends and then their friends. And it's like, oh wait, hold up, we don't have that much space in here, right? Which is why we had to have another space.
Yep.
Um, but they create their own. They create their own system, and they also gatekeep. Like, they'll have friends even in school buildings who they won't invite to our program, into our space, because it's a protected space, and they're like, oh no, that person just ain't gonna do right. And when I come here, I gotta focus, right? So they kind of they do that themselves. They manage. So that was my little tidbit about the hustle part. So yes.
Well, I know we got to go, but I have a question. What would you like for us to know that we didn't talk about tonight? Is there something you want us to know that we can pass on or we can remember, or what would you like for us to know?
So I would probably. Mm, I'm gonna remember when we're leaving, but we are, so Dr. Royal, of course. We are having Kids BizCon. That's coming up July 25th. So if anybody wants to be involved in that, we're gonna
Kids,
have over
kids what?
Kids BizCon.
Oh,
We have over 300 young people from all different organizations come in for one day, and we have like they get to take 2 workshops. So like last year we had Dr. Royal do a workshop. We had a workshop from the trademark office. We've had workshops like on arts, and they get to choose 2 workshops to do, and then we also do a pitch competition at that event. It's a pretty much like 10 to 4 event that is on July 25th this year. So if any of you guys would like to be involved, we would, and we can structure workshops around what it is that you guys would like to contribute. So that's one big thing. Also, we are having our 10th year anniversary this year. It's going to be in October. So I will send you guys details on that too. So we're really excited. It's our first gala and our 10-year anniversary. So that's coming up as well.
Oh, I'm
mm.
so proud for you, and I will be at Youth BitCom. I will. Are you on Howard campus? Did you get back with them to make them give you that space?
At Bart, yes, we're still at Bart. So we have an incubator space. No, you're asking for. So no, so one of the things last year, because we had it at Bart last year, and it was so. One of the things that we heard feedback from our community organizations was that they really wanted to stay in Southeast. So while Malcolm X Library and even Howard, they're really good locations, but that means that young people have to travel, and of course, everybody has their events like at these bigger, nicer spaces, which Bar Early College is a really nice space. But it's in the community, so
And
we
it
want to
was a
make
nice space.
sure.
It was a lovely
Yes.
space.
So we decided to go ahead and keep it at that space because it's in the community. So that's where it's gonna be. So
Oh,
we're really excited. We're planning now, so planning early. So we'll have lots of meetings and introductions as things are coming along.
I'm telling
One,
you, they made a poster for my session. Nobody, from my Africa clients to my nonprofit, that was the most that I made them let me take that.
Oh, so
They are good. I'm telling you, these babies really, really good. They is really good. And they is smart and they is kind.
And they important.
beautiful and important.
but the other thing I wanted to tell you was I am a certified in holistic nutritional. Um, I'm a holistic nutritional practitioner and also versed in world cuisine. So if
Oh,
kids want to learn something, those are the 2 things. And I put my number in the chat. So
I'm downloading it now, and that's so crazy because where we're at in our organization, we're small. Like even when we have events, like me and my staff are cooking. But one thing that we've done
mhm.
consistently, and it's just us, we do something once a month with our young people. It's called Cultures and Cuisine. So me and my staff make a meal from a different culture. So one month it might be Japanese, and we'll make sushi and bring it in for the kids. and we'll just talk about that culture, and they, you know, the building is packed. Even students who ain't in our program coming in on Cultures and Cuisine Day because
Of
it's
course.
food, right? But we make food and we do that once a month. And of course, it's not like it's not huge because we're cooking ourselves. So one month it might be like Jamaican. So we're making kids asking for, and they get to choose the theme each month. The month and the man, so they like we want oxtails and we want curry chicken. So me and my staff
They
having to
was
make
asking
stuff.
for them
I'm like
oxtails.
Huh?
oxtails for 50 people. So
That's
so
expensive.
right. But we find ways to make it work. Like Restaurant Depot and stuff. So like one month we did do oxtail, and next time they ask for it the next year, because every year some students are and they're like, oh, we want to do Jamaican again because we won't let them do the same cuisine over again in the same
Yeah.
year. And I'm like, no, y'all not getting oxtails this year. But yeah, that's funny because like, yeah.
Y'all
So
can
we
have rotis this year. This year you get rotis.
right.
Roaches, I
So,
love them.
let's wind down because I know you got to get home to them babies and that husband, man. And we all probably need to go inside because you know we go to bed early because we
Right.
old.
Now, mine will be sleeping in 1 minute. You know, he in his 80s.
So, Nedra, you got a closing comment or observation
I am
question?
just so happy that hear about youth programming because that is so very close to my heart, and the resilience you're building in these youth. Keep going forward, my sister, because I know that community can be challenging. Sometimes they come in there, baby, like they know everything, don't know how to get out of a brown paper bag. So a lot of love I know has to be engendered from you to them. And then later, that love they give you back, girl, is
Mhm.
like nothing. So I say, my favorite to you, thank you for doing this because there's not a lot of people that go to the youth and work with them, you know, and you have to be kind of savvy. So I appreciate you for that. And I'm going to try and find out, I don't want to promise now, some way I can get on a Zoom and do some kind of workshop, a collage or something around Romeo Bearden or some of the black artists throughout
Bigger,
history or
Romeo
somebody,
Beard,
you know?
mhm,
Yeah.
Archie
Big,
Burroughs.
yes. So I'll work with Kathy on that, and maybe I can do something and maybe just set it up and you can show it again, or we might can do it live. But I am
Awesome.
thankful for you.
You got a
Thankful,
new
thankful.
Calvary.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Tacharna, what I want to say is my heart is very full in learning of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Me
Um,
too. Yeah.
I feel a lot of hope. Um, and and I don't think that I'm allowed to say that I feel pride because I have no nickel in that quarter, but I am so very proud of your effort and how this is definitely going to ripple out into the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if anything, I would like you to have some workshops. Maybe we can invite you here, or maybe I don't know whether you know if there are other programs like yours in different parts of the country. Um, but I think it should be replicated.
I know of a program in DC called Little Phoenixes. Little Phoenixes. So I'll talk to her and see if I can put the two of you guys to get guys together because hers is mainly girls. So
Okay.
yeah, so young girls. So I'll let
Oh,
you
I
know.
like that.
Sharonda.
I
Oh
love the entrepreneurial.
But anyway, I'm hope, I think there should be National Hustle Days.
yes.
Yes, I'm
Yeah,
down.
look, we need to trademark that before they steal it like woke.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I
yeah.
love
Oh,
so
smart.
what a good
I'm just
idea.
saying, you have made my heart full,
Mhm.
and I know I needed it today, and it's going to carry me through at least till tomorrow. Thank God. I thank God for you.
Yeah, fight for
Thank
another day.
you.
Yeah.
Yes.
So my sister is, thank you so much for coming.
Mhm.
And you know, the Stoop is always here for you. And you know you know where I am. So you can, and I'll be there for whatever. Look, put me in, coach, you know.
Yeah.
that
But
that that Bembe is that weekend. The
he
one in
might not make, I might not make him then.
okay.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, thank you so, so much. And you know what? Your ancestors will always carry you through. And may the
Ah,
ancestors lift you up, carry you over, and pray you to the next position because you are doing exactly what your ancestors dreamed about. And
Life of service
that,
pays off.
thank you.
Mhm.
thank you.
Thank you guys. It's been such a
Thank you.
pleasure.
Mm, thank you so much. All right.
Wait,
Oda,
Thanks.
gotta
Odavo,
go, people.
Good night.
I'll
Good
send that
night.
to you,
Yeah,
Iya Beji.
I'll hang on for a moment. You want me to do what, babe?
I said I'll send it to you.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Thank you.
going to go and deal with Delphine now,
Oh,
Maryland.
that's right. That's right. Did you stop the recording yet, babe?